Thank you very much, and I hope your Wednesday morning has been fantastic so far. Well, we're built to make it even better here. I've been joined by Samuel Atamensah, his CEO of CTFM, popularly known as Cements, and Mr. Ricky Kasise Pepra. He's the founder of the Youth Development Network and Youth Enterprise Development Network. Beg your pardon, forgive me about that. So they've joined us, and you know that then we have the A-team ready to discuss what's on the front pages of the newspaper. Daily Guide reports that Nana picks 11 for Council of State. Ayariga bribe case today. UK Foreign Minister visits Ghana. That's the Daily Guide. The Ghanaian Times says 11 appointed members of Council of State. British Foreign Minister visits Ghana. Deal with Bimbila troublemakers. Interior Minister and Valentine judge jails robber 15 years. The Daily Guide. Government on top of economic challenges. Osafo Mafu says so. Senior Minister. Claims of child labor on cocoa farms grossly overblown. Dr. Efriye, Minister for Agriculture. President names 14 to Council of State. Photograph of Sam Kujato, astute lawyer, Madam Dr. Margaret Amakohene, Ms. Georgina Kusi, and Stanley Niajere Blankson, former Chief Executive of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Today newspaper, health alert at Dambai as human waste flows through gutters. Read the profile of youngest MP in Parliament on Friday, February 17, 2017. So advertising there. Ghana cuts Cote d'Ivoire to size on maritime boundary. The Daily Heritage, Minister to fight land guards with one district, one factory. Photograph of Greater Accra Regional Minister Designate, Mr. Ishmael Ashite, who said he had just heard about the Conti project 4 days ago. The Independent newspaper, Mahama cautions African leaders to leave power peacefully. And Daily Statesman, President appoints Council of State members. President Akufo-Addo congratulates new German president. And regional minister designate for Ashanti region not hostile to any tribe. Government will shield miscreants. Interior minister warns. That's according to the story in Bimbila. BNFT, government must stop starving statutory funds. And last but not least, the Finder, 92,000 Ghana cedis NHIS fraud at Dunkwa Government Hospital. No living CJ on Nanes Council of State. It must be very worrying for him. So those are the headlines. Let me go to my guest. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Wednesday, the day after Valentine. How did it go yesterday for you?
A regular day. I went to work and went to school. Got home about 10:30. So when I got home, my wife was sleeping. For me, it was just a regular day.
Regular day for you. You don't need a day to celebrate Valentine, I suppose.
I try to be a good partner every day.
But someone's put together a very special program for Valentine's Day.
Really?
Yes, your people put together a very special
Keeping Love Alive.
Yeah,
that was on Saturday.
Yes, they kept it alive.
Yes. To educate married couples on the challenges of marriage. I think it was put to a good use.
Right. So yesterday, how did it go for you?
Well, as you say, it's a regular day, and we just gone past the Valentine stuff, many years ago.
Okay.
Now you think about how to pay school fees.
Okay, so we're on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Join us. Let's get to read your thoughts and comments, and we'll distribute it to the rest of the wonderful world. So we know that President Akufo-Addo has named some individuals, Ghanaians, who are qualified according to the Constitution, Article 89. And he says the Council of State. But surprisingly, we do not have a living Chief Justice, former Chief Justice, to make up the team. And it's mandatory by law that we have an ex-Chief Justice, an ex-CDS, an ex-IGP, and it's stated the Ghana Bar Association must be represented, House of Chiefs must be represented, and all of that. Is it worrying that we don't have a Chief Justice to make up the team?
I'm only proceeding on the basis of your comment that is mandatory.
I'm not so sure about mandatory.
It's
I
probably
think
a convention.
Required, not mandatory.
It's probably a convention that has been followed.
Okay.
But I would be surprised that Nana Akufo-Addo will actually go contrary to a constitutional provision as you had.
It's there actually in Article 89. It states who must be part of the, and it's for good reason.
Yeah, but the who must be living first.
Okay.
The who must be alive first.
Okay.
Now, in this case, that who is not alive.
And I'm saying that it must be worrying because perhaps the framers of the Constitution didn't foresee that at some point.
But it doesn't take anything away. If the person is alive, so be it. If it's not, we move on.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
Again, with all respect to the career that I want to join, we are probably putting too much, premium on the legal profession. Nana himself is a distinguished lawyer,
Right.
and his cabinet has got quite a number. The special prosecutor is another distinguished lawyer. So we do not necessarily, like he said, we do not have a living CJ, so that is a moot point. But we are not going to be particularly bereft of legal input in any case. The Council of State is a consultative part of the governance system. What struck me when I saw this online was why we do not celebrate the people that have made it onto the list, but we are trying to find what is missing. I think we have become professional fault finders.
Well, if you have a table that, so this table is supposed to have 3 legs and it doesn't have one, it will not stand well.
You'll be surprised that depending on the structure of the table, it could probably even stand on one, and there are tables with 1 foot. I'm sure you know that.
The architecture is different.
Exactly.
So if the architecture is for 3 legs, we can't make do with that one leg.
Again, sincerely speaking, I don't know how long you've been living, but since I've been living, I've never ever heard of any peculiar contribution that a living CJ has made to the Council of State. In any case, we have a living CJ who is not retired. So if there is need for apex advice, Justice Judge Wood is available.
There's also Mr. Okujato, Samuel Okujato, who's with the Ghana Bar Association as well. So perhaps
I think we are making unnecessary hue and cry about the absence of. I am just happy that this critical wing of the government has been assembled quickly, because as you realize at the beginning of the year, there were so many issues about how certain appointments were not constitutional because they were supposed to be done in consultation with the Council of State, etc., etc. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I just need to add quickly that Ghanaians, we have to be consistent with our love affair with the Constitution. Okay. So when we quickly run to the Constitution and say we have not done this as the Constitution, then we should also make sure that we try and live by it on a daily basis.
Right, thank you. Samens, this is good for us, certainly. IGP will get legitimized, will get passed, and all other, like Ricky says, all other appointments. Did they come too early, too late?
Nothing like too early. I think in recent past, we've seen this would be the first time we've seen these things put into shape this quickly. And it looks like President Nana-Addo came prepared already because everything has moved according to schedule. And so I think it's just the right time. And I do not see the news aspect of the absence of an ex-Chief Justice, really. I mean, it's not like somebody is living and has been denied.
Okay.
And so the whole news twist, I'm not so sure. Like Ricky said, it's important for us to celebrate those who have made it so far to the Council of State, because it is an important part. I mean, some people have said that it's useless, we don't see their contribution. The councillor in your family, you don't see their usefulness until you get into trouble.
Right.
And so that's how, for as long as everything is moving peacefully, you may not see. And in any case, they are not in the forefront of our activities. So even when they are doing stuff, they are not social commentators for everybody to see what they do. And I think that it's a good part of the governance system that brings stability. And it's something that gives the president, I don't know, at times you look to your shoulder and there's somebody you respect. That's the kind of thing that our culture provides. So I think the Council of State, the composition, there's none with any questions of their capability and their track record. My own Auntie Georgina is there, representing the Ashanti region, I suppose. So I think we are happy.
The Electoral Commission is also built to organize the elections.
The
regional
representation.
We understand that Mr. Intimensa has picked nomination for Greater Accra region as well.
Yes.
And so many have tipped him to get in there.
But why not? That would be a wonderful.
Why not?
There are a lot of young people actually. I know one of my friends, a pressman, who's also picked up. He's been shortlisted and is on there.
Yeah, but I mean, I heard some people from his constituency, apparently NDC people, who were not happy with the fact that he's offering himself. Why? The reason they gave is that, well, the Council of State is non-partisan in that sense, but the rank and file of the party, they don't think that way. They believe that it's somebody else's party in power. So, but I think that why shouldn't you have Intimensa on the Council of State?
I'm very, very impressed that he has actually broken the mold and gone for it. Even if he does not make it to the Council of State, I think it's a positive development. Yeah. About your young friend, I think if you can advise him, telling him he should bide his time.
No, it's too late.
There is a certain,
already.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, just for the record, there is a certain undeclared expectation of a member of the Council of State that you should be able to give counsel to the president of this country. And especially in this case, you at the very least must be a peer of the president to be able to give him advice. So, but it's fine. The enthusiasm must be encouraged, but he should hold on another 40 years maybe.
We should hold on. I don't know, but maybe it's because of the constitutional provision. So just anybody at all, goes to pick it, and
we don't know what he knows. So wait. Yeah. But I'm happy for Intimensa.
Yes.
It's bold.
I don't think that it should be a place for young people to go and play around. I really don't.
No, the system will.
The younger people have
win them.
The younger people have more options.
Yes. So they should focus on those options.
Maybe they should try a GJA position first, and then he would mature and then
entertainment prefect.
Dining hall prefect.
Okay, so the Parliamentary bribery, committee will sit today. We're told. And the star witness was not in Ghana at the time. It was in Nigeria, Mahama Yariga, so they had to postpone to meet today. Many have raised concerns that, well, Parliament cannot be judge, jury, and referee in their own issues, irrespective of the fact that they have their own internal mechanisms that will look at some of these things. They believe that Traj is better placed to run this investigation, and they will be happier if Traj did so. Do you share that opinion?
Let me make sure that they have not already started, in which case my comment will then be found contemptuous. There is no organization in this country which will take this matter on and Ghanaians will be satisfied. Let's make that very clear. It's just because it's in Parliament. If they send it to Shraj, they'll say, the Shraj appointee is an NDC person and that's why he probably saw in this direction, etc., etc. It's a very lamentable allegation. And in the grapevine, one gets the impression that this is a regular occurrence and that this particular one was just somebody who cut his nose to spite his face. However, there is no reason why we should not give the Parliament. I do not have any memory of such an internal review or an internal investigation. So we have no basis to think that the Parliament will not do a good job. Okay. Let us, there's everybody saying that Honorable Gate himself is supposed to meet the committee, or has he already done so?
He has already met the committee.
But people like Honorable Gate have their reputations that are different from their job in Parliament. And I'll be particularly surprised that such a person, knowing the value of this case, will do a shoddy job of it. So I have confidence that this will happen. The point is, we need to understand that when a system has got faults, we are better off bringing out the faults, engaging the faults, and going forward.
In this instance, what faults?
No, I mean, the allegations of money changing hands. we are better off admitting that, okay, after all, our members of parliament, honorable they may be, but have flaws, so that we'll engage it and go forward. But if we decide that we want to, sweep everything under the carpet, then we are not going to be building the strong institutions that everybody has every opportunity to say left, right, and center. I have confidence that the committee is going to do a very diligent job. My problem is, will the committee have the support that it requires from the rank and file of parliament?
Right.
Because I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. And again, I stand to be corrected. Because in history, we've had that controversial member of parliament. He said it a couple of years. Yes, we've had Alban Bagbin say it. Well. Yeah. And they say when the frog comes out of the pond and says the crocodile is dead, you have no business doubting it. Right. So it is not the first time this is coming. My worry, though, on a very lighter note, is why the media will call Ayarga the star witness. Well, he's just the main complainant, and I don't know which was more important. He's going to represent it as ECOWAS or actually finding out whether he is a truthful person or not a truthful person was more important.
Which do you think is more important?
If I would have said he should stay behind, let that committee work and deliver, because they say justice should not only be seen, but should be seen to be done expeditiously. So already some people are reading some shenanigans into this whole thing as to how it has been kept on hold, and it's gone to Abuja to represent us. In any case, it's the inaugural meeting of that parliament, etc. So, well, we are waiting.
Samis, the committee says they will make their sitting public. Is that what will satisfy Ghanaians?
Well, I'm not so sure about what will satisfy Ghanaians, but I think it's in order if they I mean, I don't know, but something tells me that they should have done this in camera.
Okay.
Because you see, it has to do with the integrity of Parliament as seen by Ghanaians, and then also the integrity of Ghana's Parliament as seen by the world
over. Right.
Okay, so it's no child's play. It serves a good purpose if they want to do it live. I'm happy as a media person, but I'd rather they did it in camera just to secure the sanctity. I'm not saying that they have something to hide, but I mean, it's Parliament, and when they go out there are certain things that they do in camera, there are certain things they don't do in camera. But we are happy as media people to cover it. And as to the question of whether Parliament will be a referee, and I think that's overflogged. It's the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. It's not a certain...
Irrespective of the frequency of these allegations.
I'm not sure about frequency. I'm saying that we have...
Alban Bagbin has served on the leadership of Parliament.
Alban Bagbin has been in Parliament for over 20 years.
And he served, as leader.
If he made one allegation, I don't know about frequency.
He made it. PC Apiofori made it.
That's making
Martina
it
Bidu made it
making
as
it 3.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 out of 20.
3 out of the number of years.
Even one, I find it questionable.
Yeah, but you talk about frequency.
Yes, but frequency is 1, 2, 3.
I don't know about that.
Plus
my statistics doesn't tell me that 4 out of close to 30 years establishes a trend. That's no trend. These are exceptional issues of concern, I must admit, but it doesn't establish a trend. So I'm just saying that it's important.
So should we forget about the committee?
Which committee?
The committee that's going to...
Where is that question coming from? I mean, they are doing their work. No, they are doing their work, and rightly so. We are interested, and they want to show it like they want media to be present. We are happy. But I'm just saying that we should be careful that this thing does not degenerate into something that puts a lasting question to the integrity of our Parliament. That's all I'm saying. We have to be careful.
All right. Thank you very much. Page 16 of our daily graphic says, government on top of economic challenges, or Safumafu says so, and says the government has conceded that the economic challenges confronting the country are daunting, but has given its strongest assurance that yet it will surmount them and propel the nation to economic prosperity. It's not the first time we're hearing about this, but it also focuses on the private sector, and I'm happy that both of you are private business persons, that they will create the enabling environment. It seems to have become a cliche and a rhetoric. Do you feel the enabling environment at all when the politician says it will create it?
As a matter of fact, you finished my rendition on this whole matter. This is to be expected. I'm just waiting to see. It is not, when Ghanaians, when we wait with bated breath, is because we've heard the story before. The Ghanaian is expecting tangibles to be delivered. So, am I particularly enthused about this assurance? No. It is to be expected. But does that mean that I do not have hope? That was also not the case. I do have hope. I have hope predicated on a previous experience when the MPP was in power. There seemed to be a certain consistent drive towards private enterprise growth. So why would I not believe this assurance? But does that necessarily make me livid with excitement? No, it isn't. We have heard these promises for so long, and you've heard me a couple of times on this particular platform.
Yeah.
Ghanaians are tired of the politicians. We think that they are just the same people divided into two opposing teams. It's like, area football. You have all from the same house. You come up together and you say, divide, use this side. So you are not actually adversaries. And they need to prove to us that they actually have an agenda for the people of this country. Because we've been marking time quite a while. And one of my lecturers said, and it was kind of startling, in a couple of days, or at least in a couple of weeks, Ghana will be going on retirement. And he asked a simple question: if anybody was to go on retirement with, a comparative, that amount of debt and that amount of unpreparedness and et cetera, what are the chances that person was going to last long in retirement? But we are 60 years old. We are still grappling with very fundamental issues. Rather than spend our time giving assurances, why don't we deliver? We need to deliver.
What are you looking forward to in terms of enabling the private sector to shoot up their business? What ingredients are you looking out for from the government?
Let me admit that I am not economics is not my forte. I'm a regular Ghanaian walking the road. What I want to see is a very sustained input into agric. Because for me, when food prices come down, when people can afford 3 square meals, or at least 2 square meals and a half, then we are talking of an improvement in the standards of living. But if you are telling me environment, what do you call it? Enabling environment. I don't really know the indices that are going in. But for me, what I'm looking at is agric improvement. I'm looking at a very serious reassessment of our attitude towards our environment, the physical environment.
Right.
I'm looking at employment opportunities for the youth. And we have to have a very fine balance between wanting investment and wanting, if I may call it, booty hunters. What the Chinese are doing to our environment is plain criminal. So we've got to find a very good balance between those two. And whether those types of investments are actually even creating jobs for the youth is a different matter. So I cannot profess any theories. All I'm just saying is that we need to substitute the imports with local production so that 99% of the rice that is consumed should not come from Thailand and China. When we have irrigation projects in this country, which in the past, when we were younger, were producing rice, so that the rice farmer has been outcompeted by cheap rice, and I'm even told some of it is now plastic, and so it's a whole mix. We need to understand that the whole world is going, and we seem to be just sitting around and quarreling over missing cars, etc., etc.
The cars are not important.
Oh, they are, but in the grand scheme of things, we find that completely ludicrous that political elites are chasing each other after V8s and V10s when actually all we want is a living wage and some economic progress in this country. I'm not going to say that it's not important. And on both sides, we haven't gotten there if we ever discuss it at all. But on both sides, it's ludicrous that people allegedly are, running away with vehicles. Allegedly, let's make that clear. I find that ludicrous. What is the meaning of that? It's as if we are going back into the times of conquest, where you conquer a place and then you take booty. That is laughable if it is true. And on that note, I think that the Administrator General too could have done better.
He complains of resources.
I have heard that story before. If you think you cannot do the job, resign. If I were given a job like that, and you don't wait for 2020 or the year before elections to start doing the job, you have a constant inventory. We've got software for stuff like that. You go around, get the information, check it on a periodic. If he thinks there are no resources, gentlemen, get out of the kitchen and let somebody who can come in there do it. The excuses are too many.
Right. Summers, enabling environment for the private sector to boom. Are you happy about it? Does it make you happy? The government has named a lot of initiatives: one district, one factory, one village, one dam. Yesterday, Nyamashite mentioned at the vetting committee that, well, he thinks that will put a stop to the riot, violence, and criminality that's going on around us, especially among young people. Does it inspire you as a business owner, private man?
I'm sure that even the worst pessimist will be excited about things like that. Enabling environment, it's, for me, what it means simply is somebody has 10,000 cedis, wants to put into a business. The choice of putting that 10,000 in a business in Ghana, as opposed to putting it in a business in La Côte d'Ivoire or even Togo. Now, which one gives you the space to do what you want to do in order to get the returns that you require and sustain your business? Enabling environment. So what are all the elements that will spur you on, give you the space to generate the returns you so require? Returns in terms of employment, returns in terms of profit, returns in terms of growing the business. And that's the duty of government. And so if the government sees it as a critical need that they first of all have to put together, I think they have to be excited. Because as for one district, one factory, that by itself is not enabling environment. It is the enabling environment that will help the one district, one factory grow.
In terms of tax reductions?
That's not one district one. I'm saying that, so reducing or reviewing taxes, I want to look at it that way.
That's what I want to. I'm not talking about the factory. I'm talking about, so if taxes are reduced, it will make you excited.
I'll use the word reviewed.
Okay.
Reviewing tax, the whole tax regime to appropriate the taxation, where it has to go, where we have to reduce, where we have to stabilize, and all this is the duty of government. And it's not just a popularity thing. It is to make sure that businesses grow and are sustained for the benefit of the citizen.
For you, a private businessman whose business runs, on electricity as well, and you hear the government say, well, the energy sector levies that they promise will go down may not go down again. Does it put
I'm not sure that's what the government said.
What did the government say?
They mentioned a particular levy. We need to be. They mentioned a particular
Which one.
one.
Did they mention?
I forget the name, but they mentioned a particular one.
Because what I remember is the energy sector levy.
No, they mentioned a particular one. I'm very sure about that. That one, and that came from the finance ministry, not from the energy ministry, mind you.
Yes.
So it's not like all said it's done, but they were considering that maintaining it for a while.
But said it may not.
Yeah, that's considering, of course. Ricky. So I'm just saying that whether they maintain or not, for me, is not the biggest issue. The bigger issue is that, are we taking our time to review all the components of our tax systems? all the levies. You understand? And again, we need to also take a second look at how we have used the levies so far. I think for me that's a bigger problem. If you have a chunk which you have not put to good use, then it calls for too many questions. But we come to the enabling environment. We cannot create the employment we so require if we don't improve on the enabling business environment.
How do you mean?
Without that, you can create sustainable businesses. We have a lot to do with agriculture. For instance, if there's no enabling environment, how do you get money from agriculture? The culture of subsistence farming is long gone. I mean, how much would you eat as a farmer? And how do you manage the surplus? And I do some farming. And, you know, the last harvest of maize, within 2 months, the maize that I'd harvested were going bad.
Wow.
In my case, because I didn't have time to do what I had to do. But I'm just saying that if you don't know which market or how to even get it to the market, it's done. So enabling environment, how do we even post-harvest, reduce post-harvest losses? How do we, you know, there are lots of things that we have to do. So I think that the government must get to work immediately to create this enabling environment.
The UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson is set to meet the president today. Part of it will be to meet young entrepreneurs and to talk about opportunities and challenges as well. Will it fit into this one? We get them meeting our people all the time, symposiums, and they talk about young people becoming entrepreneurs. You are entrepreneurs, of course, but young people becoming entrepreneurs. But one key factor is the element of funding, where people have brilliant ideas, they make presentations, but they can't find the money for it. They go to the banks are unwilling to give them, and all of that. Does it fit into this whole enabling environment conversation, Ricky?
Well, I find the entire remit of this question rather vast. I find Boris a very interesting character, swashbuckling. He breaks all the codes of what is supposed to be properly British, and so unfortunately, it's not as if I have the position or the opportunity to meet him. But I think it is his visit to Ghana, you know, betrays a certain respect that the May government has and should have for this country. That he is going to get to meet the young people does not immediately give me great hopes, but the symbolism of it should not be lost. That rather than spend time meeting the politicians or chiefs, or you know, he's actually going to meet the young people. That gives the impression that okay, so this is a certain belief in and a certain hope, and that they want to encourage the young people to assert themselves and to take the reins of government and in fact running this country from the older generation. So I think that is in the right direction. But I quickly want to add about this energy levy thing you were talking about. Now, Ghanaians can crucify me if they wish, but I don't think we are really particularly as worried about cost as consistency of power supply. I'm sure the Samensis and Co have adjusted to the new prices that were brought up. What it disrupts business is the absence of power or the irregularity of power. You know, because at the end of the day, if you have a proper business and you structure it well, you actually will push the cost of power down to we the unsuspecting guy.
Ricky, I think
I said as much.
Yeah.
The strict thing is as much. You see, well, we didn't vote because we thought that certain levies were going to be pulled out of the. We need to look at the whole delivery system of the electricity. And I'm saying that the worst case scenario, would you rather have maybe slightly higher rates for your electricity than have unsustainable subsidies, where you probably get 2 or 3 hours of electricity a day. So I'm just saying that Ghanaians
should weigh their options.
Yes, we need to weigh our options and see, okay, if after sanitizing the whole of the system, we don't see a drastic cut in the cost of electricity, that is no reason for us to pick up quote-unquote arms, as long as we can be sure that we have a constant supply of power. I think in the long run, that is more desirable than just having cheap power, which you cannot actually even enjoy. That's just my take on it.
I think what I see being done is not an either-or situation.
Okay.
That let's maintain the levy so that you can get consistent power. I think the effort is to remove the redundancies in the system and achieve some efficiency in managing the whole power supply system. Your point's well made, but again, you look at specific industries and how this lack of power or consistency of power has affected, especially the tourism industry. Again, location of industries into Ghana. One of the major things that have discouraged investments into Ghana is our cost of energy. For instance, because the per capita cost of energy in Ghana is just so unbearable for companies that want to locate here as compared to our neighbors. And so they rather end up in other countries and we're losing out. So it's important that we keep reviewing this energy costing regime to see how best we can achieve some efficiency first and foremost. Well, in the midst of the chaos, in the energy situation in the last 2-3 years, a lot of bad investments have taken place.
Yes.
And I am saying that bad investments, things that we could have achieved for, say, 300 million, we ended up with 500 million in the rush to get things done.
In fact, it came up strongly during Mr. Boache Jaku's vetting.
Precisely.
And it's come out again that the FRSUs, which he mentioned,
FSRUs,
yes, that were
we
bought
committed ourselves to
exactly.
3.
Can we what is FSRU?
Well, I've forgotten it.
Well, they explained it. So maybe if you didn't watch it, then that's. I remember when one Napo asked Ahi, regasification. We're hearing all these terminologies for the first time, but these are huge monies committed to projects. And in his estimation, we had made commitments which either we did not need or it wasn't time for us to commit to. And this is money, and we are going to have to pay. Okay. And so for me, in the midst of what we call the gidi, we just ended up, spilling money everywhere. And this is what we have for
Is it a problem that we can't hold people accountable for?
Oh, it's a big problem.
For what they are supposed to be doing for us, and then in the end, we only complain, let them go, and then we get back to square one. It looks as if it's a big
huge
challenge
problem
for us.
For me, I think that we have not matured out of our traditional chieftaincy mode. You see, in order for people to be able to hold their leaders to account, they must actually believe that they have that power.
Okay.
And individually, we may indulge in our vituperations left, right, and center. But at the end of the day, when you ask somebody and say, for example, look, should we call for the head of Mr. Soso, and says, oh, it's all right. It's all right. As what we call it, the Famanyameism. So we need to understand. And I think that because we are an easy client, the politicians of this country are having a field day. People are, for example, the American National Security Advisor, who was economical with the truth, he was advised to resign. Right. Now, that has never happened in this country. I doubt, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anybody who has resigned because something has gone awry in their ministry or under their supervision, or that somebody has been, the worst case scenario is somebody has been fired,
Or moved to another place.
Yeah, or semi-retired into the comfort
Or
of
advised,
Flagstaff.
or advised.
Yeah. So we need to be able to set that trend. And you see, we are not just messing up Ghana today. We are making sure that we are messing up Ghana going into the future. Because the young ones see it as acceptable to get into politics and make money at no cost to their personal freedoms. As far as I know, apart from the sports minister, the $40,000 sports minister.
Free Accra.
No.
Malamisa.
Yes.
Malamisa, 46,000.
Yeah, 46. Apart from he who spent some time in incarceration, and then the contentious ones of Pepra and Salome.
Yes.
Yeah, but there are so few in the scheme of things. When you hear that there's supposed to be so much corruption in this country, and then once in a while we have the occasional scapegoat thrown to the masses as compensation, as if we are taking this whole business seriously. So we need to hold people accountable, but we are not. And that is because we have the same system that is watered down right down to the districts, to the municipalities, and to the regions. People become lords over people. And we ourselves acquiesce to that type of, relationship. So, it's all right. He became a minister. I mean, for example, somebody becomes an MCE. If I were made an MCE now, people would not expect me to drive in my old car. No. My friend, what are you? What are you not serious? You should, change
societal.
Yes.
Thing.
They expect your wardrobe to change. They expect you to put up a new structure. They expect you, in some cases, to add a wife. And even if you don't do that, you are the aberration. So we are all a problem. The society, and I think, unfortunately, I cannot immediately think of one who said, but they say the people deserve their leaders. The leaders that we have are a product of the system, and for that matter, they cannot act radically differently from who we are. So we have to start. Look at the way we've been handling this controversial Wyoming case. Where have we reached? Where have we reached?
So the Attorney General is giving him assurance.
No, for me, this was just a rhetorical question. Where have we reached? And so many other issues that were supposed to have happened. Since we started this democratic dispensation in 1992, we've had all these issues, and we cry about it, we make noise, and in the next moment, we are off to the next thing. Our attention span over those crises is very short. And don't even think that Ghanaians are going to say, no, we are going to go into the streets because we think that this is wrong and that is wrong. So we need, advisedly, a mental revolution to hold people accountable, knowing full well that those resources belong to all of us. And if we do not stand up for them, they will wilt away and they will end up in Swiss banks.
In fact, on a funny note, Constitution says if you must be a parliamentarian, they must check you for sound mind. You must have sound mind. I don't know who checks for sound mind anyway. Yes, sir. But sometimes, will the independent prosecutor bring any change?
Well, it's a good signal. But you see, if we do not support the whole idea to create a system of responsibility, then it will be a wild goose chase. I'll quickly, move to talk about the vehicle issue.
Right.
First of all, I think we should start from. I think we should stop buying the four-wheel drives.
Okay.
Dr.
Abudu is a former chief economist of the Bank of Ghana. He served 4 presidents, Dr. Hilary Mann, Professor Buzia Champon, and President Rawlings as well. He has a book, and he says he advises that based on what he's seen, we should rather use saloon cars, which can take less fuel. We should economize, pay the ministers well, so they can buy their own things as opposed to me footing every bill of things.
Let me, you see, I'm just saying that if you're a functionary and you require tools to work, we should just appropriate your function and find the tools that are commensurate.
Right.
I mean, even if we have to buy a four-wheel drive, do we have to buy a high-end four-wheel drive? I mean, at times it baffles my own imagination why we do these things to ourselves as a nation. And then when we are out of power, we go sit in our couches and start pointing fingers. So we buy, and then we buy 8 4-wheel drives for one office. What, is it a car rental company? So I'm just saying, you live in Accra, you work in Accra. What do you need a V8 for? If you have your money and you want to buy your own car, nobody has questions. And again, I think we should also review the fuel allocation for government functionaries.
Right.
I mean, if somebody is giving 5,000 cedis of fuel a month, why? Is he going to open a fuel station? Even some going as far as 8,000 cedis a month. How do we progress as a nation? So all these, look, if you want to sell the company's car or the organization's car to the government functionary, we should come with better regulations. I mean, if a car is 2 years, it's still in good shape. If the car is 8 years, I'm okay if you have to sell it to the person or give the person the first offer of refusal.
Right.
Because really, Ricky, if the policy is that when you become a minister, you should be entitled to a car. You don't want to be entitled to a 10-year-old car which has been rough-ridden by somebody else.
Right.
You understand? So it makes sense.
Right.
But 1-year-old car, 2 years car, and then you sell it as if you go to this, and then they have this thing of, we went to STC and they gave us. Yeah. I think that should be people.
KB Ashanti says it's a bush way of doing things.
Precisely. I mean, he is older, so he can afford to use the word. I'm young. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't say that yet.
He has got the poetic license
to say that.
But I'm just saying that we should respect ourselves as a people. First of all, stop the 4-wheel drive purchasing.
Okay.
Even if we have to buy, there are stronger 4-wheel drives that are even cheaper.
Okay.
Stop. In fact, hey, look, you get a Pajero. Really? Yes. What's wrong? And a PNDC, what 4-wheel drives were they using?
Nissan Pajero.
Mitsubishi Pajeros. Yeah. It's not. They don't cost. I'm not advertising for them, but I'm not. This whole thing of V8 mentality, it will kill us. So everybody wants a V8, and some of them they have 2, 3, and they are using in Accra. What is that? And it costs so much.
So much.
Not even one of them is costing us less than $100,000. In certain ministries, you have up to 10. What do we need that for? And then the same people turn around to come and tell us free education is not possible. It's possible if we stop buying the V8s.
Wow. Thank you very much, Sames. Grateful for your time. Sames is the CEO of CTFM, and Ricky Kasise-Pepera is the founder of the Youth Enterprise Development Network. Thank you very much. Have a great day,
you too,
sir. And you too, have a great day.
See you.
And,